house somewhere on the East Coast. She said, I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I did it. She has 4 children who've all grown and married and now live overseas. But she's still selling bhaji on a truck, driving around in the community. And she's still doing it. Now, so there are individuals here in Guyana that thinks that way, the next step, the next step. But we need to have that embedded in our communities. And through the organizations, encourage people to come and be part of what you're doing. It will elevate your numbers. And keep it in mind, we're not funding only because of numbers. Our funding, let me address the funding factor, because this is the real meat of the stuff that everybody came, right? Yes. I didn't hear it. Yes. Oh, somebody have one more question and then we'll address that. Oh, yes. You have a mic. Okay, go.
Yes. I have a question to ask on the welfare of children in depressed communities. I run a small after-school class at the Georgetown District Office, and 4 days a week, and one of those days we try to give the children a meal. They don't pay, right? And we teach them social graces and etiquette. It is very difficult to find that meal because it's around just a couple of people. I've had the help of the Honorable Minister and Sister Guyana Pinder, but we would like to expand that. We could have a building where more folks can get on board. There are other groups like that. There's the West La Penitence group. There's the Lodge group who have these small programs, feeding programs. How does one push that to a higher level? That is my question.
Okay. And this is why when we thought of this program, we did not want to go to any one organization. We wanted it to come under the ministry. I asked the Honorable Harmon, give me a minister that can understand what is it I'm trying to do. And I need that minister yesterday. And I sent him that email, and he'd given me the Honorable Valda Lawrence. In a snapshot, we got her on the phone early. Having this program and the funding stream coming through one ministry does not segregate anyone. All the funding going into the Honorable Valda Lawrence Ministries unit, I want to say foundation, but we're not using that word. Oh, that funding will be able to help you to move to the next level. I know the ministry will have to organize themselves in terms of the priorities. Getting a building, I can't tell you if you'll be able to get a building. I'll leave that one to Dan. But you will be able to get funding for the various programs that you currently have. Okay? Did I answer your question? Okay. I know we are trying to get through the slides, but and again, it just talks about restore, rebuild, renew, which is what we are trying to do. We are trying to restore the hope in the people. Do you feel, when you met Minister Lawrence in the first meeting, some of you did you feel rejuvenated? Did you feel like you've got hope? Yes. And how do you feel right now? Okay, outcomes. Now, I want you to pay very keen attention. The numbers that I have on the board, on the slide, where it says 50 to 200 women enroll in training educational program, that is just me giving a number, okay? You may have only 10 women that's registered. It doesn't mean that you're not going to get funding for your program, okay? But these are the outcomes that we would like to see. We want to see that the women of Guyana taking a proactive direction. We want you to form a think tank, we call it, and I know you call it a think tank here, where you're addressing women issues, okay? And we have the Honorable Minister Vola Lawrence, who will take it to Parliament if it needs to go, correct? She's looking at me. Now, how many women here today deal with girls? And what is the most popular concern when dealing with girls?
As a member of Parliament of Region 8, I cover the entire region. One, two. Yes, as I was saying, in Region 8, it's a very wide area to cover. Because of our geography, it is so difficult. Only recently we had a rape case, an 11-year-old child. And, you know, when you look at the situation, because of the transportation mode and all of that encompassed in Region 8, sometimes the child got, in this case, the child got raped in March, and the matter was never reported till in June because of how difficult it is. We don't have a home. We need a home for such children. Gone are the days when Madhya and Region 8 was so small, there was no need for that. But now, human population is growing, the region is widening, and so we need a home like for street children, so to speak. It's very difficult sometimes. The thing happen far away from the police station. To get to the police station is another thing. Transportation is not available. It's very costly. If everyone in this hall really knows Region 8, that's the most expensive region to move around. And I am thinking in my mind, we have like 20 Amerindian villages. I was just whispering to the PS, how do I do that? Every village would want a project to do something, and then we have our girl children who are being lured into trafficking in person and so much different things. We need a special office and a home to deal with those children and women, but mostly girl children in particular. Thank you.
Okay, so what I would suggest is that you'll have to make a listing of the social issues you're having, and then you prioritize which ones you would like to target first. Because we've got to start from the beginning. You've got to start somewhere. What will your beginning be? And that is how you start.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, in our line of work, as we deal with the young women, we find that building their self-esteem and helping them to be assertive, that is basically our main concern to them. Because we know that there's so many issues that goes on around them and in their life. Building up their self-esteem is very, very hard. So we have to work with that with them. And let them know that as we tell them, you are beautiful, you work much more than that. And let them be assertive of saying, okay, if they want to say no and mean it. Helping them that way. Thank you.
Well, for that, I think in your programs, okay, you've got to be able to restore their desire to learn. And how do you do that? What programs are you doing? And those are the things you need to look at, because that is what will help you to help them to become more confident, to build their self-esteem and to recognize their self-worth, and understanding that if they want to work hard for it, then you must work harder. And that is something we need to show to them.
And now that we have a restoration, I feel that at our level, as leaders, as program managers, we should be able to rebuild the self-esteem in our young women and to let them know, look, riding a bus is not the answer. Leaving home at 17, 18 is not the answer. There is something more valuable to life. And one of the things I like to see happening is that the vendors, they're businesswomen, they're entrepreneurs, they work. What do they work for? And how do they manage their businesses? And I'm sure that all of us in this room, we can network together to help those women to start rebuilding their lives in the way that it ought to go. Because I worked at the Ministry of Labor, and we started a program where we were meeting with vendors. And if you sit down and listen to what they're going to tell you, yes, they make a money, they try to reinvest, but they have 4 children on the side. And as a consequence, I feel that we should be able not to work with women and girls alone, but to work with our young men so that they can realize that they have a responsibility to those children that they have given to those women. Thank you.
When we look at the issues affecting women and girls, it all comes down to bread and butter.
Exactly.
We talk about low self-esteem, the girls being seduced by the young men in the minibuses and everything. It comes down to bread and butter. Survival. One project that I'm looking at right now, and I think that your organization might be really fitting when it comes
Let's
to...
rephrase that. It's not my organization.
Well,
it's
well,
the Ministry of...
The ministry, okay, fitting to fund is one for young mothers who are school dropouts. Now we know that these young women, because they're mothers, there are many challenges. Some of them can get a job, but then who will look at the baby? We have no, we don't have a free daycare in Linden. We don't have, and everybody got to go and work because I said it come down to bread and butter. So we're looking, the project I'm currently designing will take care of 30 young mothers, and that's the category. You must be a young mother who is a school dropout. And we're looking at, firstly, identifying projects that are not common in, because you know, when you talk about doing a business, everybody wants to go and sell clothes, and everybody wants to open a hair salon or a barbershop. And we have too many of those. So it's kind of encouraging them to think outside of the box and to be innovative, bring new ideas, new business ideas into the community. And then we put them through a 3-month training program for 2 reasons. One, train them, it's entrepreneurial training. And then the second reason is to ensure that they have stamina or stickability. Because sometimes when you put young people to training, at the end of 1 month, you don't see them back. So it will tell you that they have commitment. After the training, because the plan is to start to train 50, but the objective is to do 30 at the end of it. So 30 will be identified, and then you have the project documentation done, and then find funding for them. But the funding will be in a grant. This is a grant up to $300,000. The project can be below that, but you know, that's the maximum. We provide hand-holding for them, and the organization with which I work do that sort of things. And then you do hand-holding for a year. At the end of the year, we set up what we call the Big Sister, Little Sister monitoring program, where we have other businesses in the area that are run by, successful, that are run by women. You now attach them as a Big Sister. So they will, you know, give a little overview, encourage them, and see them off.
So now they will have their own business, generating money, generating income. It must be profitable. And when we see how that goes, we can now turn that into revolving, have another group come, or even set up a little loan scheme, a little revolving loan scheme now to help other women in this category.
Over the past 8 years, I've implemented a comprehensive empowerment program for adolescent girls or young mothers from age 12 to 19. This program is a very successful program. It has been identified as a best practice throughout the region. It has also been identified as a best practice globally by ACP Women Actors in Development in Brussels. My point is, for women across differences, the program has been stopped at the office level because UNFPA is unable to fund the project in 2014-2015. UNFPA was a lone organization funding the project. And I could say so many stories, I'm unable to say that right now. My point is, again, is that the Ministry of Human Services at that time, we normally collaborate with them in the sense that they will refer the girls to Women Across Differences. One example, they refer 84 young girls between the age of 12 to 19, and Women Across Differences could only have taken 25 girls. Because we don't have the physical space, UNFPA unable to fund more girls. What I want to say, I am very grateful to hear all that I heard as it relates to this opportunity. And I'm looking forward to have the opportunity to invest or to continue to invest in our young girls. Because right now we have a number of young girls unable to continue their education, or they went back to school but cannot ride their CXCs because we cannot pay for that. We had one girl last week said she only could ride 2. The other one said she's raising 3 fundraising activities she'll be doing. A barbecue, she have a car wash, and one other.
And that's good. That's what we want to hear.
But she came to the office very emotional because the barbecue did not make anything.
And this is where what we are doing here today, you will collaborate, you will connect, you will invite. Everybody have members in their organization. So you connect them.
Yes,
collaborate with them.
So I'm grateful for the option. Let's hope that Women Across Differences will be able to benefit from such a program to continue to invest in our young girls. Thank you.
What we do at the YWCA is the empowerment of our young girls and women. We have an early school program that is run there. Our challenges are basically the funding for the girls, because most of the girls are from single parents, and most of them are unable to complete the program. So they would have dropped out from school, and they're also dropped out from the training program. And it's very disturbing, and there's no way that you can, well, I'm happy today that there's a funding that these girls will be able to access, or the organization will be able to access. Because this is the need basically to help these young girls, that they were able to employ them, be employed, and to better help themselves in society.
Through the blessings of the Honorable Minister, we have started working in the drop-in center at a small scale. I know it's going to get big. I'm very excited about this. Not only with the children, but also with the house mothers and the caregivers, how they treat the children. There's a lot of work that needs to be done in the drop-in center, but I just want to say that we have started, and we know with this project that we'll continue to do it on a larger scale. Yes, Minister? Yes.
I've been around for a long time, and I've been involved in women's affairs and women's issues for a lot of that time. I remember how pleased we were when we welcomed our first male partner, mechanic, heavy. We were all very pleased that we had achieved something. Kind of momentum. How and the this time I think it's going to work. And it's going to be maintained because we have a minister able, competent, passionate about our work. I have absolutely no doubt that this time we will make it and things